Right, well, here goes the inaugural running of the salvage saved from the skip layout. I've only bodged together half the wiring circuit. This is just tagged in here, so it may or may not work. I can hear some humming. Good start, but at least it's moving. And I think there's going to be lots of issues like that with the vent track. We are definitely a harsh there. I think that's the bit with the track's not happy there. There we go. Didn't get far, did it? Right, I've left the heater on tick over while I've been and had me tea and a drink. Wrong ones. Come on. So, if you haven't followed any of the lives, you will know, or if you have, you will know, we have been doing a bit of work on the old layout. I'm going to have to turn all the lights on so we can actually video a bit better. So as you know, I had issues with this section, the little two bits here and this removable part originally in its original configuration, and we had a sag in the middle there, obviously, because there's no support, and I've run out of things to stuff underneath it. I've got these machine marked trestles that they're doing the job, but I'm going to sort of be another £35 down if I have to buy another two. So what I've done with this is I took it apart, these two sections off, laid them on their side to line up, because this is where the problem is trying to get all of these track pieces to line up, both on the vertical plane and the horizontal plane. What I've done is screwed a piece of chipboard, an old bit of the old kitchen unit stuff, and just put a square over that, and luckily it pulled down, and then I've just used a few screws to try and adjust the sort of curvature of this old foam, I don't know what it is, fibre board, might be Sandella. It's not perfect, but it's as good as it's going to get. There is a bit of a sort of kink on the rail here. This outside loop is now throwing up some issues separate to that. If you saw my short, obviously I've got the inner loop more or less working reasonable. Let's let the little, come on in, let the little mutt in and we'll go for a dive. And oh, so moving on, what I've done is I propped this up, clamped a straight edge to it, and then screwed this extra batten in, which is reasonably sturdy. What I'll do is order some adjustable feet and then cut a piece of timber, and just make like a T piece to go under there, just to help support that a little bit so it don't sag over time. Then around here we had a dead section of track underneath the tunnel. The tunnel just lifted off if you've seen the videos. So I'd got continuity all the way around until we hit that turnout, then nothing, and then back again, because there's no loop on the wire from board to board for some reason. It was obviously relying on the continuity of the contacts on the turnout, which obviously are never great. So I managed to move it, and because it's still on point motors underneath, so they're not free to move very easily manually, I put my finger underneath and pushed it over, and it helped with the continuity. Then I discovered that the two wires that were there were connected to the other loop. My mistake. So I rectified that, and I have got pretty good continuity all the way around. The only place is the little drop in the sections there with the board joint. So that sort of solved all those issues. Then I moved to the outer track, which did have some strange going on down here. It was totally out of alignment. You could see where he'd obviously had issues with it, because he'd used a bunch of tacks and track pins to try and keep it in alignment. Don't know why he didn't just. What I done was pulled the two sleepers out, pulled all the nails out and pins, and there was enough flexibility. I removed another tack, enough flexibility in this little section here, and I raised it up and put two fish plates on, slid them back, put the track back in place, and used my pliers on the back, and then just tapped it to go over, and that's quite nice now. And just slip them back under. This one's not so bad. There's a little bit of a high spot. We'll see how we get on. But coming round to where it worked a couple of times, and I think I must have disturbed the switch. After that, boff, this whole section is dead. It's live from there, but there is no wiring from this piece to that piece. Those two little bits are wired one to the other, and then it comes and loops through here, and then this bit, these two pieces are wired together, but these two sections aren't. Probably because originally his controller was here, so power went in, but he never had it in a ring, and it's dead. It's totally reliant on the little contact wing of the turnout motor point, and it's not working properly. If I push it in, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But obviously that's no good, because you want to try to run over the track. So there are various droppers on each side of these three sections up here, one here and one there. So I'm now going to basically join them all together, and then loop the feed from here, because these two halves, if you imagine, there's nothing between them two bits electrically. He'd never wired this piece to this piece. It was sort of like this bit ran round and went to there. There's no connection there, and then from the track entry point here. So how he controlled it, I don't know. And obviously a lot of the wires were already cut and snipped and whatnot before I even started all this mad idea to put it back together again and have a little play with it. So that is so far. As you can probably hear, I've got my power supply I went to use, and the fuse was broken. The actual fuse holder had cracked, so that had pushed out and wasn't making connection, so I've just had to bodge it. That's a 30 amp 12 volt power supply to run this portable or semi-portable self-contained diesel heater. Chinese diesel heater, cab heater, night heater, they're all one in the same. So it's got a fuel tank in it, and a 12 volt, and I've just got the exhaust going towards the gaps under the door. But obviously the room is so big at the minute, it's not been an issue. Before people say, oh, you get carbon monoxide poisoning, I normally have that on, which is a big boy version of what you've just seen, but there is that self-contained and enclosed and exhausts out. That is just open. Basically there's a baffle plate in front of it to stop the flames throwing out. So obviously if it's really cold in probably after Christmas, when we get the coldest snap, if this room's really cold, I can sort of bring it up, bang that on, And then, as you can hear, I think this is on setting 2, and it goes up to 5. And at the minute I don't know what the temperature is in here, but it's comfortable for an external building, you know. So we're sort of set up for watching a bit of YouTube or streaming. The camera's up there. The only problem I have is obviously, even I don't know how well this is being picked up, the noise that heat is making. The speakers on this laptop are abysmal. It sounds my little tablet I've got down in the shed. Just no power to them, so you can't hear nothing. So I've had to rig up an old set of USB powered speakers so I can actually hear if I'm doing anything. The laptop's not powerful enough audio wise. So the next bit is to establish this out of tracks continuity once again. And I've got to sort out a little drop. Don't know whether you'll be able to see it on the camera, but this board here is sitting higher slightly, probably because I've got my bench here. So I might have to pull that out and substitute with something else, because there is a bit of an angle. I'll take the screwdriver out of the way, I don't. Probably can't see on camera. It's a little bit of a drop down to the next board, and it sort of swoops down where all these sidings are. I haven't put current to any of this yet. They are on feeders. Obviously if I convert this all to DCC, everything's going to be live all at the same time, unless I choose to put an isolation track in. So I'll have to put a bit of foam there so we don't get any trains disappear off the end. And the same down that side, there's one there which had a piece, because originally it was a garage wall at that end. So that's it for this infill, I think. I'm going to have to probably rig a light up underneath the van. For those that don't know, we are underneath a car ramp. So we have a van above us, an escort van. And that, which I keep threatening will claim my head at some stage. It's only there jacking up because I've got this tyre to change or repair, so I might just put a jack stand under here and push all this back. But that's it for now. Right, I think after a bit more jiggery pokery with random dropper wires, I don't know why, but there's a pair down there that go right to that end instead of feeding it from up here. Who knows? So I think I've gone round with my continuity checker and daisy chained everything up, so hopefully got the camera on, it's going to derail, isn't it? And this is where it would have died. We solved that problem, and the next one was over these turnouts. So, problem solved, and there's no drop to 8 volts down here now. Through the tunnel of love. Of course, the test is, what happens when we go the other way? Because the track's a bit iffy there. Yep. Just through the bogey. Got it back. So, looks like a little bit more tweaking. It really doesn't like that bit. Oh, now she's jumped off at the front. So we've got to sort that out. But otherwise, we're nearly there on the 2 loops. I haven't messed around with the sidings or anything yet. Obviously I'll sort that out at a later stage. I've just won another DCC system on eBay, so fingers crossed. It was a bit of a stupid spur of the moment thing, who knows. I will obviously change the wiring once we know it's all okay. This is sort of like the sacrificial loco, just in case anything goes drastically wrong, more than derailing. So we'll have to trim that a little bit more, but it looks not too bad. So it's just the sidings, some of them are fed on separate droppers, so obviously everything can get joined as one, which is where the simplicity of DCC is over DC. It's simplistic wiring. It's still just as much. You just don't have to worry about crossovers and stuff. Obviously you can still get shorts, but you just have to be mindful of that.